Hello everyone. Welcome back to my channel. As you can tell, today's video is a stark contrast from what I've done in the past. It's not a comedy video. Um, I feel like it's been a week since our country's really been going through some change and some unrest. And I've been thinking about it for a while, and I didn't really know how to speak about it. But after about a week, after thinking about it enough, after being able to articulate what I'm trying to say rather than just speaking irrationally or emotionally, I thought I should use my platform, which is this channel, to address what's going on. You can't really hide from it. You can't really be blind to what's going on. It's overdue. Um, but I just want to first off and start off and say I am not African American, obviously. But I am a person of color in the United States of America, so I'm obviously in a unique position when it comes to my perspective on our world and how we live, right? I am an ethnic minority. There's obviously not a lot of us. You hear your racist jokes here and there, but nothing you can't handle. But at the same time, even though I'm a person of color, I cannot relate. I cannot truly understand what African Americans go through on a daily basis, what they've been going through for decades now. And I think what the death and the aftermath of George Floyd has shown and taught us is that these prejudices, these injustices, racism, it all still exists. It persists in our history and through our society. Um, I think a common misconception is that after 1965, after the Civil Rights Act was passed, that, racism was just gone, or that once segregation was dissolved, it's everyone was on equal footing. There was no more one race is higher up than the other. But that's not how it works. Things don't just change like that. It takes decades, if not centuries, of change for for what your goals to be true. We still take a look at ancient Greeks or ancient Romans and their philosophies, and these are thousands of years old. We still abide to the way they lived. They still have an influence on the way we live today. So it would be foolish to think that after just 50 years of desegregation that all of our racial problems are just gone. And what we have seen in the last 1 week is millions and millions of people, entire groups of people that have been fed up with a persistent issue and they just can no longer handle it anymore. There's obviously good in every situation. And I think in times like this, it's very easy to look at the negative and be blind and from the positivity, but you can learn and gain from the good things that are happening. For really the first time after George Floyd was murdered by that cop, I saw my friends, everyone I knew they came out and said, he was murdered. This is wrong. African Americans do have it rougher than other people. This is something I have never seen before. And that is change. That is progress. This is something good. Everyone across the entire spectrum is now identifying, now acknowledging that there is a really deep issue here. Progress does happen, right? And it will come, but it takes such a long time. You don't score a touchdown in one play. You go 5 yards, 5 yards, 6 yards, 5 yards. You methodically drive down before you score. It's the same thing with what we are seeing right now. You're not going to solve this issue overnight. No one person, no one action is powerful enough to completely absolve what is going on. a very big question, a conundrum that we're facing is, are we reacting the right way? Is rioting and looting and protest these tense protests an appropriate way to react to the problems at hand? First, we need to identify what these problems are, right? Criminal justice, policing, just the day-to-day behaviors of how we treat other people that look different from us. How much support do you get from the government? All these things. It's not just one problem that's racism. There are layers and layers and layers and different, parts to this. So when it comes to rioting and looting, don't group the looters, the thieves, with what's going on right now. The thieves, the people who are looting stores, these are already criminals. These are already not good human beings who are trying to take advantage of a situation for their own good, regardless of race. There's been black, Hispanic, white, Asian looters. They're all just trying to grab a flat screen TV when no one's looking. So I would push aside the looting for now because I don't think that's even a reaction to what's going on. That is completely separate. With the rioting, riots happen when a group of people aren't listened to for an extremely long period and when nothing changes. That is what has happened here. In 2015, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, there were peaceful protests where large groups of African American people just stood in the road. High profile black athletes took a knee during the national anthem and were instantly vilified, made to be the bad guy, made to be these anti-American haters. But these are all peaceful protests. But they were not listened to. There was no change. So then you cannot act surprised when they get fed up and they start rioting. Guess what? Whether or not you agree if rioting is appropriate, it works. People listen. The entire country has been talking about this only because of the strong reaction. We are still in a global pandemic, and that has taken a complete backseat to the racial issues that we're facing right now. Obviously, we all think destruction of property and burning shit down is wrong. No one is saying that it's right. But you have to look at it in the context of the situation. Decades of not listening to a complete group of people, taking them for advantage by people on the entire spectrum. Of course they're going to riot. You didn't listen then, but guess what? Now they have your attention. It works. The unfortunate part about this is this whole riot, all these reactions, all what's going on right now is completely avoidable. Could have been completely avoidable. Yet it is totally inevitable based on how we have treated them and how we've just looked down upon them for so long. The big question now is, where do we go from here? Do I speak about it? How do I get involved? Obviously today, you've seen on your Instagram, all these kids are posting the black photo and they've been using their Instagram stories to repost things. That's okay. Get involved however you think you can. At first, even I was like, oh, this is kind of corny. This isn't really going to change anything. But like I said, not everyone's powerful enough to create change. So if just posting, reposting, these little small things matter to you, then do it. If you don't want to, don't. No one is going to pressure you. Okay, that's the big thing. Don't feel pressurized to join a movement or something, right? Only post about it if you really, truly believe in it. If you are only doing it just to fit in or something, you're wasting your own time. On the contrary, if you don't agree with what's going on right now, that's okay. That is perfectly acceptable and normal. Don't feel suppressed. Don't, it's okay to speak out if you're like, I don't agree with what's going on. That's fine. Obviously, I disagree, but that's okay. Disagreements happen all the time. That doesn't mean you're wrong and I'm right. Change and progress only comes from confrontation, from good, formal, professional conversation. I implore each and every one of you who's watching this right now to find someone that disagrees with you on this particular issue and to have a civil discourse about it. Don't be mean. No need to get weird, weird with each other or to be making fun of each other. But share your opinion and talk about it. That's how you create change. You don't create change by just berating someone who feels different than you. You don't monopolize the way people feel. Progress comes from compromise. Remember, don't do it over text. Don't do it in a DM. It's very, very easy to do that. But you don't get your message across. You don't get your tone across. There's grammar mistakes. It's such a bad way of having good conversation. Once this video is over, go find someone that you disagree with. Call them. Talk to them in person. FaceTime them. I don't care if that conversation's 5 minutes or 1 hour. Share your opinions and come to a middle ground. Let them try to modify your opinion. You try to modify their opinion. That's how you create change. That's what we should be doing going forward. It's very easy to think in the macro, right? How can I end racism? Spoiler alert, you can't. But you can do small victories. And small victories are very easy. It's as simple as being nicer to your friends, all your friends. No longer needing to exclude people from the group or talking shit behind people's backs. You can start developing a really good relationship with your parents, right? Obviously, as teenagers, we tend to fight with our parents a lot. But loving them and being connected with them, that goes a long way too. Same thing with, other members of your community or your teammates. That small, everything has a domino effect. Being nice to one friend has a domino effect where they're nice to someone else, which means they're nice to someone else. And that snowballs into a much better society. Above all, do not lose hope. It's very easy to lose hope in what's going on right now and to give up or on any side, on any issue. But hope is the only thing we have left that is going to keep this country together. That's going to keep this country from completely unraveling at the seams. Hope is the only thing we have to move forward and to create change. Before I go, I want to share some organizations I think that are really good. I'll put them in the link below, in the description below. There's an organization called Campaign Zero. They do really good work, research-based work for police reform. Obviously, you can support Black Lives Matter movements, and you could do bail funds. Donating is probably the easiest and most efficient way of getting involved, or even attending a protest without having, you don't have to riot, you don't have to get involved in the protest, but just attending, witnessing, learning. Those are probably the two best ways of getting involved and feeling like you matter and you're doing something significant. I don't really care how many views this video gets. If you're somehow still with me now, props to you. But I don't care how many subscribers I lose or gain. We are going to make through this thing. Most people are good. There are issues in this country, but change does happen. It takes a long time and it will come. I promise. Do not lose hope. If you completely disagree with everything I've said in the last 15 minutes, then call me up and let's have a chat about it. I'm all for listening to the other side. I think that's the, as I said earlier, that's the way we move forward. If you agree with what I've said, feel free to share this message, or even better, modify and create your own message to spread. Do what, use your platform in any way you think possible. Any possible way you think can make a difference. Thank you. Have a good night.